All right, shall we begin on the best part? Cool.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon sections. So today we have the software section. First presenter is the Vitery, and the second presenter is Isaiah. So let's get started.
Yeah, thank you for introduction. My name is Vitaly. I'm product development in TOA Canada, responsible for product development in local Canadian markets. And my colleague Isaiah is a product support specialist. He will later on will show software and do system from scratch to show you how it works. But now, before that, we have a short presentation just to overall general overview of the software. So, and after, in the middle of our session, we have some small break. Okay, so his agenda today is VX1000 software, the big picture, user levels and access rights, software operating modes, basic system settings, priority and event logic, timers and scheduling, and monitoring and maintenance. Let's digest one by one. Big picture. So VX1000 software is a centralized configuration tool that you use for your whole system-wide configuration, assign zones, priorities, your scheduling, your emergency messages, uploading your custom-made music sources. How it interacts with the system is user network connection, of course, with the frames, as previously on the first part of the session we discussed frames, control panels, and microphones. It will allow you to do also routing and enable zone behavior, depends of the requirements. And why its configuration is critical. The correct configuration will enable you to perform correct functions. Otherwise, if you do something wrong, the system will not behave as you want, and it will show you some errors. So we'll demonstrate you later on, like this message here will show you something wrong with the configuration. When you press on that, you will see what's going on. Let's discuss user level access. We have basically 4 user access levels to the software. First and most important for installers is administrator/installer. This user level will provide you access for whole system. The difference between administrator and installer do everything except assigning passwords for the users. And administrator, you can assign passwords, custom passwords for end users, for maintenance, and for installers. So that's the difference. Advanced user have a limited configuration access. This is for day-to-day operation and assign scheduling, pre-record messages, adjusting general broadcast settings without affecting core safety functions. And the basic end user level is for, we'll say, for monitoring and maintenance mostly, and maybe triggering some announcement, but not there's no permission to change the system settings. Why the access levels matter? The tiered access will prevent accidental unauthorized changes to the safety and critical settings, ensuring system stability and correct operation of during emergencies. Now there is 2 main modes in the software. It's called simple mode and normal mode. In a simple mode is it's a guided like when you do installation or some simple settings, there's a kind of wizard that you add the frames to the system, add the microphones, and you press next. So basically, it will guide you to set up simple system. In a normal mode, it's a full-featured system that we'll discuss and show later. It will have complete access to the system functions, including emergencies, modes, and also advanced features like ANC, Vox, and network configurations, plus, of course, surveillance. And again, that I briefly described that why we have that. It's a simple mode again for use for faster setup, for simple setup, and normal mode for trained individuals that do complicated systems. Even for the simple system, we encourage to use the normal mode because there's more flexibility in this mode than the simple mode. Software operating settings. So again, this slide basically duplicate what I said about the simple mode. The previous slide you see on the right type of screen, it is a basic mode. A simple mode. There's less settings available, and in a normal mode, it has a much more settings available. Now we can review software interface. So main screen layout, the main screen display all the system settings, microphones panel, so it's on the left side. The menu bar has features like uploading configuration and accessing maintenance modes. Navigation basics. So you start system from the basic settings. When you select this tab, on the right side, you will have a more in-depth describing settings, and you go one by one down. So you configure system from top to bottom, and in the end, you will have a configure system. Connected to the VX3000, you will go to this menu bar. Oh, sorry. On the top of the menu, there's a communication, and you're accessing the discovery mode. So in this window, you will see all the network devices, the frames in the network, and you can assign IP addresses for them. Also important is the system ID. Every frame has an IP address plus ID that is important for system configuration, and it's also set up via front panel, or if you enable deep switch on the front panel, that you can basically assign IP address from the software, not from the front panel. So it's very important. Priority and event logic. So the VX3000 has a very extensive priority levels. It's I think up to 1024 levels, and each the portion of these priorities are segregated between emergencies mode and general broadcast modes. So how the priorities work, every audio source and event is assigned and a priority level. And when multiple broadcasts occur, the system automatically will decide which priority level is higher. It's, of course, you decided before. One note is when two broadcasts happen in the same time and they have same priority, you can enable kind of first in, first out, or last in, last out mode. So it depends the requirements on the site. Emergency and normal emergency behavior. So emergency events always take precedence over normal, of course, that we discussed, and ensure evacuation messages and delivered immediately and cannot be interrupted by routine audio like your background music. Trigger sources, it could be your inputs, contact inputs on a frame, buttons on the remote microphones, and of course your pre-configured schedules. And this below, there's the screenshot from the software, how this looks like, and we'll go a little bit more about that in the software demonstration part. Timer and scheduling functions. So it allow you to allow to create schedules for different announcements. It depends of the situation. We have daily schedules, weekly programs, and holiday programs. Let's break down a little bit more about that. So daily schedules allow you to broadcast or actions to run at specific times. So on the top, you see the daily program. You can assign start and end date, and also what type of source or inputs you can use it for that, like EV message or auxiliary input. You can have up to 50 events per day and up to 10 daily programs, if I'm not mistaken, 10 daily programs. So 10 daily programs plus 50 events per daily program. Once you create your daily program, you can go to the weekly program, and per day you can select which program to run on the same day. Holiday schedules is override normal day-to-day programs on specific dates. If it's like holiday, Christmas, or government holiday that need to run some specific messages, broadcasts, so you can do this as well. Typical real-world use cases, of course, these are schools for class balance, factory for shifts changes, offices for opening, closing, so you can automate this announcement and no need to use operator to do this manually.
Well, now we got one question coming in. Someone asks if we can install the VX3000 software on a virtual machine. The answer to that question is yes, you can, as long as that virtual machine is running Windows, of course, then you should be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, bring it back to you.
Yeah, of course, has a network access to the system. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Question is like this. So in terms of you're talking about the first out queue for like the paging, because you're saying that say that if the say 4 zones have the exact same priority number.
Yeah.
So that means you're saying first in, first out. So let's just say that someone's making an announcement now, and then the even though while they're making an announcement, and then the second party or the second classroom decides to make an announcement. How does your queue behind the scenes actually work? Because let's say that teacher in room 2 now, like room 1 start talking, make an announcement. And then room 2 start making an announcement, and they know that's in queue. And then room 3 starts to make one as well, but they didn't know that room 2 is actually making one. So that one goes in queue because they started first. And then room 3 make an announcement just after them. So that's the system behind the scene. How many queue is actually able to be queued up?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. Thank you. There's no such a queue. It's basically a priority buffer. Once it's 2 announcements happening in the same time and the same priority, there's 2 options. You either override the previous one, which is LIFO, last in, first out, or you keep it first still broadcasting and you will not be transmitted. So if you want to avoid that, you can basically assign the maybe second priority to that. Otherwise, it will or interrupt the previous broadcast, or your broadcast will not go because the first one was there. So we need to wait that first broadcast will finish and you can start do that. So you basically have on your remote microphone this option that is you will not able to do that.
So
So
take advantage of those priorities pretty
yes,
much because there's
you
like that
basically you will not able to do that when you select the first in first out. You will not able to do it. Once it's finished, you can do your broadcast.
there's no call stacking like that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next. So these are monitoring and maintenance overview. On this page on the software, you can assign a monitoring status for different aspect of the system. So you can assign the analog link and LAN A and B monitoring. So analog link is connection between two frames. Analog link is supposed to overtake in case of main CPU failure. So you're still able to do local broadcasting, but without all these network features, but still you can do that with analog link. And of course, you can monitoring this link with a failure detection system. When it's detected, it will can of course show you on the software, on the front panel, and also can send the email. Also, you can monitor the amplifier health. If amplifier is failed, you will also receive the notification. You can monitor your remote microphones and control inputs. So if you have like some third-party system that need to be monitored, you can assign control inputs to detect closure, and you can afterwards you can send email or notification on the software. You will see there's some problem with the control input. And also you can individually assign for each frame. So in this case, we have 2004 and 2008. So individually we can assign. Also, we can monitor speaker line. I'm sure colleagues mentioned about the speaker line monitoring. So we can detect open or short or grounding to the earth main speaker line. On the top, you can see the battery check. So you can set up like a schedule every, for example, start time you can assign, for example, midnight, and every 4 hours or 6 or 24 hours, it will check the battery if it's they're okay and good health. The second is external ATT check, attenuators. So if you have attenuators that need to be monitored for some reason, so also you can do that. And here you can select the schedule for amplifier speaker line detection. It's like every, for example, in this example, 100 seconds. So this is it's repeatable intervals you assign when it's started test the units. Yeah.
When you got your external monitor, you said you can monitor volume control.
Yeah.
Can you then create an action on that volume control? I.e., if you've got a volume control in a, let's say a corridor or a main entrance way, and some little bugger goes and turns it down because they're like to push buttons, and it finds out that, you know, that volume's been turned down. Can you then, if it's monitoring like every, let's get say every minute, it can then go reset that to a nominal level?
Well,
that, or is it just telling you that it's been played with?
no, it's actually monitoring if the attenuators fail or not. It's basically like contacts.
So it can't monitor.
It's not monitoring exactly the position of the knob. It's of course when you reduce the volume, it's not something it's a failure, right? But in case of emergency broadcast, we can override these attenuators. So of course they can adjust the volume for background music because it's too loud, but during emergencies we can override that. So some attenuators has override contact. So by, of course, we can show a little bit in the software how you to enable that, but in emergencies you override. But to tell if somebody reduce the volume, no, you cannot do that. Yeah, that's a short presentation, and if you have more questions, any more
We should be good to get
Yeah.
started on top.
So thank you. Now we'll I pass the mic to Isaiah. We will open software from the scratch, show you how to enter, how to make a basic emergency broadcast system. Yeah.
Yeah.
The volume.
Yeah.
So after the emergency message has been completed, does it go back? Does it understand to go back to what the volume was before?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because the BGM will show it's a base pattern. It has lower priority. Of course, the attenuator is there for adjusting volume. You can it's not necessary to have attenuators, right?
Yeah.
You can set up without any attenuators, background music volume and emergency broadcast volume. So nobody can
Okay.
will mess with that. But in case it's attenuators required, it will override. But again, when it go back, the background music will be like low volume if somebody adjusts it, or high volume.
Yeah. Oh, like 20 volume or something. I don't want to be like it's staying at 80% forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The volume controls, if they're specific volume control for the system, or can it be just?
No, it's not. It's not specific. There is some. It's a basically a rotary switch.
Yep,
So
that rotary switch is like a TOA part, or is it can it be a 10K part or?
no, it's not 10K part. It's
It's for
adjusting speaker volume level. So it should work in a 70-volt speaker line. So it's not 10K or pot or something. It's on a speaker volume side.
So how would it know that that volume control is messed with if it doesn't have some way of controlling it? Like it's just.
We have AT100 EMG volume attenuator. It has a built-in relay. So you can trigger that relay and bypass the attenuator.
No, so it has to be a specific
Yeah.
volume control.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting.
Well, you could find the different variety of that volume controls. I'm just saying what TOA have. What?
AEG has them.
Yeah.
Atlas has them.
Yes.
They've got that 24-volt or 12-volt relay.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if it, you could put a, 10K pot in there.
No, 10K part. It's a low voltage. You need special remote volume terminal for that, like
Okay.
like TOA amplifiers has, but it's not the case. It's on a speaker side.
And it's only speaker side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course you can adjust from the software if you need that, and even from the front panel, but front panel need to be removed. So different option. Okay, thank you. Now.
All
pass it
right,
to
I'll take it over, going over the software part. So to start off, you will find the software available to download on the TOA Canada website. That should be in the download center. And once you download it, you don't need any specific any additional requirements. Once you're on Windows 11 or Windows 10, you should be fine. So just like my colleague mentioned before, we have different user levels from end user to advanced end user, installer, and administrator. For your guys' case, if you're reinstalling it and have full access, you're going to want to use the administrator. The password would be the administrator. Same thing goes for installer and end user. Their password is going to be their user level names. All right, so starting off, you're going to see the basic page, just like you saw in the PowerPoint before. Yeah. Not better. That's just like you saw in the PowerPoint before. When navigating this page, you want to start from the top, the basic settings, and you work your way down. You'll notice some sections might be grayed out, but depending on what we put in our settings here, they will become available if we choose that option. And one keynote to mention for here in Canada, we're going to want to use a 230 volt, even though our power grid isn't 230 volts. If you choose something different like 100 volts, you're going to start seeing products that we don't offer. Keeping us to 230 volt will let you be able to do your program as need be. Moving over from there, you got the system name. I would recommend definitely getting some unique names because since the VX3000 can be quite a large system, being able to distinguish your different systems are very important. All right, so now if you want to make sure that if something fails, you want to enable your fault detection. The first part here. That's lag. I don't have that. Look up. You're lagging. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, moving over from there. Most systems, again, in this case, you'd probably want to have emergency functions enabled. If you don't have that enabled, certain areas, say like in event and patterns, emergency would be grayed out. So we want to make sure we have that enabled in our case for our test example. And one quick thing, now if you were to, for example, have multiple systems on various networks, you would probably want to use now system combined down here. If you don't put this in use, this section here will stay grayed out and you won't be able to add other systems. For our example, we will stick to the one, so I'm going to have this off for now. All right, moving over now, we have the unit configuration settings. So here in our example, we start off, we have the VX04. When I click it, it tells me what I can put inside. So for this example, I have a 50, and another 50 in amp 3, and I set them to 70 volt because we do 70 volt here for most cases. Come again? It won't auto detect.
No.
With the VX, a lot of things here are quite manual.
Yeah, but once you insert your amplifier module, you need to select proper amplifier module and set up the speaker line voltage.
Yeah.
They are basically both modes 70 and 100. So
Yeah. So just like I said in the basic setting, if you, for example, set that to 100 volt, you're not even going to see these options. You're going to see other products that we don't even have. So that's a quick indicator that, say, you did something wrong, you got to go back and change it. And we're, for example, in this case, we will put amplifier 4 as a standby amplifier. Moving over from there, our DS power supply. Unless you're giving this power from a third-party power supply, most cases you're going to want to put use. That will be use the VX2000DS. And for first DS, I'll have it as area 0. But if you have multiple DSs, then you want to say which one you're connecting them to. So this area, like to say this is one room, I have one DS and this frame is connected to that. Going on for my inputs here, just have the 4 inputs. For this test example, let's say this is a PM-660U. This is a simple push talk microphone. Or put this on mic level. Don't need phantom power in this case. And here the general type, this part's very important because if it's BGM, you have the lowest priority. For something as simple as a general push talk microphone, I'm going to keep this at general. But if this was for emergency, then I'll change this to an emergency. For our case sample, I will keep this general. And I don't want this to mix with BGM. I would want this to cut it. Our next one here, I'll call this, for example, our MW-41BT, our music player. Get that outline. And now I'll call this one BGM. When it comes down to it, for mixing setting, I'll put this to reduction. So when it does get cut, it won't just cut off instantly. It'll just fade down gradually. You can fade out, fade in, and the attenuation, you have control over that. Next, looking over the outputs now. For the VX2004, you have different settings compared to the 8 and the 16. Here you see for zone setting, I got AV zone use, and then there's zone A use. Why you see this is because the VX2004 is the only frame that can do redundancy when it comes to your speaker run. So you have a line on A and line B. And this frame is the only one capable of doing that feature. For now, I will use AB. And I will put end of line monitoring. And let's make an ANC. Let's go back to our inputs. Let's call this our ANC mic.
ANC mic is for ambient noise compensation. So we have a noise level increase, so we can increase the speaker volume.
Yeah. So now going back to our output, say now zone 2 here, I want this to be, not this one. You're listening to our ANC mic. Let's say I want that zone to stay at a specific level. And why not I give it end of line monitoring as well. As for setting terminals here, this is where you could give your contact names if you're using any. In our case scenario, where we will just call contact 1, we'll just call it our strobe light system. And from there, that will be for the 04. In this system, let's also add down, a good example, we're going to add in an 08. Going to say that it's still part of the same VX2000DS, so 60. Amplifier being used, 50 as 70. I will do the same thing here.
By the way, you can mix the speaker, amplifier. You can do VX050 or the first slot and VX030 in next slot if it's not required more power, for example.
So yeah, so you can use lower powers.
Yes.
Ones. I'm just putting 50 because I like to max it out on power wise, but understandably that might be too expensive in many places. They only want to use what's needed. So yeah, sure, I can make this up 30 for instance.
Yeah, backup amplifier should be same or more, of course, but you cannot put like amplifier number 2 VX30 and standby VX015. It will not cover the power requirement. So standby amplifier should be always more or same as a amplifier that you're replacing.
Yeah.
No, I believe not.
The software. It's a good question.
Let's try.
We'll try that out and see how it plays.
Yeah.
Let me finish adding everything else first. Yeah, for this example here, we will just, we don't need so many outputs being used. So I would say from 6 to 8, we're not using them for now. And we're also going to add in a VX2016 frame to this. And say it's using a different DS. Amplifier in this case, used. I will say we're using a 30 at 70. And also with the 16, I will also minimize how many outputs we're using since there's so much here, just so we don't look at too much.
Just a reminder, VX 2018 and 16, it's a 16 zone and 8 zone, of course, but it's not 16 channel amplifier channels. It's only one amplifier running all of them. So you need to think that, of course, it's a 16 zones, but in case all zone paging, you need to think that amplifier should handle all the speakers. So this unit has a built-in speaker selector. You have one amplifier output and speaker selector, and it's selecting which zone it will go, or all of them. So why VX 2004 more powerful? Because each individual zone can power by individual amplifier. But 2008 and 16, it's powering by one amplifier at a time, all zones. So again, it's depends of the requirements of the size. So we have 3 types of frames.
That's why in certain cases, the 16, for example, you wouldn't really want to use that for music.
2016 mainly for just PA, emergency PA. 2008 you can do, there's a two amplifiers, can work for broadcast, PA broadcast and background music. And 3004 you can do individually. Background music in the zone 1, PA in zone 2, or vice versa. So VX 2004 has less zones but more flexibility, plus including DSP functions.
Ending from this one. So right now we can see everything we've added in so far just by expanding them. Or adding a few more. Let's give ourselves an RM microphone. The RM200SF, the fireman's mic. Let's say we're going to connect this to the VX08, for example, and I'm going to use RS Link A. I'll click OK. Now we see it here. I want to add in, for example, the RM500, another frequently used mic, or say which unit I'm going to connect it to. I want to connect to 8 as well, and let's say I'm on RS Link B for this case. And we'll click OK. You also show it pop up here. One
Just
thing.
a small reference, RM500 mic is on the top of this rack. So with the buttons and small display, this is a 500. It's more flexible microphone, but not for emergency. To the left is can use for general broadcast and emergency. And RM200 SF that Isaiah add, it's a fireman mask. It's only for emergencies. Yes.
So one thing I did want to point out, for all those zones that we did turn off, you'll notice now you don't see the speaker out on those zones when we're expanding it here. So if you're ever unsure if you turn on and off a zone real quick, when you expand it, it's a quick way of telling. And we will also add in 1 PM or connect it to the 04. And 1 CT. And we'll connect this to the 08. And then for adding all your units, this the unit configuration settings, this is where all of that starts off. So when moving over from there, you have your network settings. From here, it's now just adjusting the networks of every device you have connected.
Oh, just want to translate. Can you demonstrate the standby amplifier add?
Yeah, we're getting right there.
No, the one unit configuration. Yes. Like add to 3008 standby amplifier. So you want to demonstrate what you happen when you add a standby amplifier that less power than that other amplifiers. So just put VX 30 or 15.
15.
Yeah, and press OK. So you have the settings mismatched.
Hold on, we already have that. Let's see. Yeah, standby amplifier and what is smaller than, so it tells you.
So you have a warning when you add it. So just yeah. So this will answer your question. Yeah.
I'm gonna jump to details. It's gonna bring me right back to it. Now I gotta correct that.
Just excuse me. There's Mitya has a question. Can you please demonstrate the EOL connection one more time, please?
The end of line, how to set it in?
Yes. How to set it?
Yes.
Thank you for
End of the line. You will see that on the settings for the audio output.
Yeah.
So where it says EOL settings here. So if I want end of line for zone 1 for the 08, I'm gonna tell it, yeah, we're gonna use end of line. And you know that it's set there now because when I look at my 08, it shows EOL, so that means it's end of line. This is how we had previously set it in our 04. I have the end of line there too.
But for the end of line, there's need to purchase the module for that. Module. So some countries require that. For basic monitoring, you have an impedance measurement of the speaker line, so you can detect short or open or some deviation from the previously set up impedance for speaker line. But there is also modules, but need to be a special order to end of the line, so it can be monitored as well.
Yeah. And last question.
Oh, yeah, I was just wanted to ask us. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving over briefly, like I was saying, the network part here, this is where you are just going to assign the IP addresses to all your units. And yeah, if you do have a, like I said, like a mistake, you say you put the same IP for certain devices, the setting mismatch here will appear again, and it'll tell you that you got something wrong there and you have to correct it. Moving from there now, we have the amplifier configuration setting. This now, because we put in the 08 here,
Settings.
yeah.
If you change the IP settings from the 192, whatever,
Mhm.
do you have to reboot the frame in order for that IP address to take place or to just get on with it?
So if you change it there, you have to push that configuration
Yeah,
after.
but you push the configuration, but like on a lot of things, like in computers, what have you, in order for that IP address to take place, you have to reboot.
Well,
the-
internally
The
will
VX.
restart,
Good.
of course, and during the pushing configuration, system will be not available at the time. So if you're thinking that system is live and you want to change IP address, it will be interrupt the broadcast.
So the software will reboot the system if you push a different.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it'll reboot it enough so that it can take it, because the VX itself is not something that'll it'll turn itself off completely. It'll just do like a light cycle so it could actually use that new IP that you gave it. Yeah. Where was I? The amplifier configuration setting. So here, because we have the 08, this became available to us because we have two different amps in here. We could decide which amps we want to power which zones here. So that is configurable. One thing of noting, when you overlap them, it doesn't mean that you're getting double the power. So even though you see 500, 500, zone 3 to 6 is not getting 1,000 watts. It's still limited to 500. That's one key part to take in when you're playing around with this here. This won't be available for the 04s because each amp is for its own. Moving over now for the standby. When you need to set your standby amplifier, like which ones did you wanted to listen out for. Here I have, for example, the 08, but my 16 is just sitting here. If I want to say that if something were to happen to my 16, I want the 8 to power it, I would just click it, hit add. And now the standby amplifier for my VX 2008 can power my 16 if something were to fail on it.
So basically, there's two modes. You can have standby amplifier for each frame, but specifically, so one amplifier fail, it will replace, or you can share the standby amplifier up to 8 frames. So imagine 8 frames in one rack. You can assign this standby amplifier will take over if any of these 8 frames amplifier will fail. So, but again, only one failure per all of this.
It's under the assumption once one fails, that now you go out of your way to get that going up, because you could have up to 8 amplifiers set to 1. So if one fails, you want to make sure nothing else fails during that time, because if another one fails, you only have one standby amplifier connected to that one frame. So then those other zones will be out of luck until that gets replaced.
Yeah, of course. When you set up
Got it,
software, you need to have wiring between. There is a standby terminal on each frame, so you can connect one frame to another.
Have to put the loop output of frame 3 back up to frame 1 in order to do that.
But you can't loop it in the software. Software doesn't let you loop.
No, he was talking about the physical connection.
Oh, physically. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, example, you have 4 frames. First frame has a standby amplifier, and 3 normal amplifier. Another frame has all 4 without standby. Another for no standby amplifier. So they can share the one. So it's just connection between the frames.
Like this.
No. It's only one. It's only one standby. It's only one.
There we go.
I think you could confuse.
this.
So you no.
No.
Yeah. So you
Like
if you
antenna.
have a share standby, it's only can one be for shared frames, only one. So of course, if you want more redundancies, you can run them separately. You have a standby amplifier per frame. You can run that as well. So, but again, up only one.
If it's per frame, then you wouldn't have to do this part.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, the
If
VX04 was
per frame,
already
you
on standby.
yeah, you don't need to perform the settings when you do one per frame. That previous settings that we show is enough.
So going next, now you will see the surveillance settings here. With the surveillance settings, this is where we're going to tell the system what to listen for, what to look at. So if we want to make sure, if we want to check if there's any opens or shorts or earths on the speaker line, if there's something wrong with the control input, something wrong with an amplifier, anything wrong with the mainframe, this is where we would be selecting that. You can either select it manually one by one, or if you just want to listen to everything, the fastest method would be click all, or click all here. That's the fast way to go through. From there on the top left, now we could also check the battery. The battery time, you say, for example, I want it to start at 5 a.m. This will be in military time, by the way, 24-hour time. Intervals every 12 hours. Same thing for the external attenuator check and the amplifier / speaker line. You're going to tell it how frequently you want it to check these things. So for this page, it is quite straightforward. If you don't want to listen to certain things, like let's say we don't really care about the control inputs, I could just deselect that.
Well, it's I believe it's also check the impedance, not impedance, internal resistance of the battery. It might also check the discharge, like usually how the battery check performs. You temporarily disconnect power and see how the discharging rate is going on. So there's some algorithm how it's performed, but usually you should perform this during the less load on the system, like during the night, for example.
Yeah, moving from there, then we have the internal EV settings. Here, the first thing you see is registration. From this page, this is where we're going to load any audio files that we want to play within the system. Note the system can hold a max of 30 minutes of storage, so we don't have an exact space-wise, but they count it in minutes instead. And for the audio file, it does take a specific format. Let's see if I had that written down. 30 minutes of storage time. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, just 1 second. I'll double check this. 30
Yeah, go
minutes.
back.
Uh,
Yeah, sure.
uh, EV. Well, it's a 400 megabytes of memory, and let's see how many minutes it is. Yeah.
So short.
I guess it's more closely to 60 minutes. Yes.
I know where I got the 30 minutes from. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, just give us a minute. Wait.
You might need to check back on that.
Yeah, we'll go back. I will, yeah, so you continue. I will double check this. Yeah.
So circling back for now. So on the internal EV settings, the first thing you see is the registration. They say we're going to load our sound files. In this case, I will load up a test sample. So let's say we got one, test sample two, and we'll say test sample three. On this page, you can adjust its volume, and if you want to just play it back, you have that option here. Moving on from there, the next tab now is the EV message settings. Here now is where you actually make one of those messages using the files from your registration. So here in my message one, let's say I want to make this a an alert message, and I want to play this 2 times. For this, I could have it play as test sample 1, maybe 0.5 seconds of silence, and then test sample 2.
You need to do externally.
Yeah.
And if you use like already made file, you need to convert to the proper format. It's a WAV format, mono, 16-bit, and
48 kilohertz bit rate.
48 kilohertz bit rate. So that need to be. You can use like a free software like Audacity. So pretty much it's not a bigger problem. So just you upload your file and do correct settings, and it will convert to the proper file format.
No, you can't do that.
Can't do that.
It's got to be on externally, yeah. One thing to note too, if you do try to upload a file that's not properly converted, you would run into an issue. So let's say if I try to upload a file here that's not converted, I get an issue and it tells me what's wrong with it. But it won't let you put in something that it can't do. Then it would also give you an error. If it's too big, if it can't handle it, it will tell you and it won't even let it in. All right, so let's say now if I make another message here, we'll just call this announcement. Or we'll just call this test sound. Why not? And this will be just general. I'll have this play test sample 2, and we could set the play count to just 3 times, for example. And I want this to cut BGM. If I don't set this to cut BGM and it's mixing, it'll play alongside background music if you have that running through the system. And then if you do want to create a chime, in the chime settings, you can create your different chimes here. If you can use chimes, and the chimes, it'll show you all your examples will be whatever we put again in the registration. So the key part here is whichever files you want to use, you got to first start off in registration to load that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
In the EV
so we
message,
have a
yeah.
question about this sounds files. It's not coming with pre-made, so you need to create your own or download like
It's a blank slate.
free available. Or yes, yeah. Yeah. Of yeah, I find out that it's a 400 megabytes of memory and up to 1024 EV messages you can upload to the system. 1024. So I will look more deep in how total minutes it is.
Yeah, 1024. Let's go back up here. And in our EV message, we'll make one more. I'll call this mess 3, for example, but I will make this an evacuate. I want this to play 2 times, and I'll just have it play test sample 3 a few times. So now every message we made here actually have different priorities from general, alert, and evacuate. So now when we move over to the priority settings, you'll notice here, for example, in the EV, my alert, priority 200. My next one, test sounds, that's a general, so that's 600. And so my mess 3, it's at evac. The lower the number, the higher the priority.
Oh yes, yeah.
So
It's
this could be
from 1 to
601.
1024 priority levels.
So by default, when I just selected it and told it was alert general, it just put me in that range. But by all means, definitely do adjust this further and give it more range. That's why it lets you select. Yeah. Going from there, if you look down further, if you notice now on our VX 2004, where I'd put in that PM60U, for example, that I had set to general, so you'll see that now at 600. But now the MW, which was just background music we want, it's at 800, so it's quite low priority, as we want background music to be. And I can make it lower, of course, if need be. And for my ARM 200 emergency, so that starts off already at 100, and I can make that even higher priority because that would be for an emergency all the way down to 1 being the highest. If you don't wish to view it this way, you can display one at a time because I admit that can be a lot to look at once, and this might be more efficient in some cases. So it does give you options of how you wish to view it when you are programming it. For me personally, I like to look at it this way. So moving on now to pattern settings. Here is where now you will make your different zones. So for instance, maybe I'm gonna want to have an all call. And for that, I want that to be every zone. Say zone 2, we call this zone 2 here. We just want it to be, maybe I want it to be this frame. If I don't want it the full frame, I could just make it one specific output. So you have full range of that. For our example, I will make the VX 2004 just zone 2. And for zone 3, I will make it the 08 frame. So I got from zone 3, zone 2, and my all call. This is now just making our just our zones. We're telling the system this is what we think a zone is. Moving over to base pattern now is where we will actually start to assign our inputs to the correct zone. So in this case, as we had our MW, that was our background music. This is where now I will say the background music is going to play, let's say everywhere. And we'll name this again, if it's playing Spotify, for example. It might seem redundant, but again, it is very important to give these parts names, because when you're trying to identify these down the line, if you don't make it unique, you will have a hard time finding the exact part that you need to get to, because these standard names won't be easy to navigate through. Moving over to general broadcast. Now, one thing you notice for general broadcast is my audio sources here. It shows me anything from my PM60U to MW. In this case, I will keep PM60U because that is our push talk microphone. If we had created a chime, I could have it play a chime at the start and at the end. And now for its output, if I want to output that to a specific zone, this is where I'm going to do that. But we made zones already here. So instead, what I'm going to do is go to pattern, and I will go to our all call. So this is what we made over here.
Okay, so instead every time make individual zone, you just do the pattern and you just select it. It's useful when the system is huge, right? We have small system, maybe it's not so beneficial right now, but for huge system, that's beneficial. Now it's at 2 p.m. I guess it's a good time to give a break, 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can do a 10-minute break.
Just 10 minutes, just go. So feel free if there's some donuts and everything. Try. Okay. After 10 minutes, we'll come back. Okay, let's resume our session. Yeah.
Let's get back. You're connected. Okay, let's go. Sorry. All right, so where are we? So for the pattern settings. So now let's look at the control output. Here, again, if we had more, if we were actually using more of our contact outs, this is where we would set our, like the pattern of our contacts. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of just like the, it's like the, I call this, it's like this base pattern. Same way you program it, but just for the contacts essentially.
So when you have broadcast and you want to trigger like third-party device with a control output, so you can trigger with that, like strobe, like emergency message broadcasted, and you trigger strobes on the facility. So this is a control output pattern for that.
Yeah, I think I put one strobe here. Let's just double check. I might have removed it. Oh, no, number one. I got it too long. Okay. Okay, moving over from there, let's go to the nitty-gritty part, the emergency sequences. Now everything here is going to have now emergency priority, so there's going to be, its priority will be a lot higher. So in this case, let's say I want, if for my emergency sequence 1, we'll call this possible fire. For this, maybe I want to play my message 1. That's alert, and or have it at 2 minutes. In phase 2, I could have it now play maybe my message 3, and that could be endless. One thing to note is if, for example, phase 1, if you set phase 1 to endless, you can't have another phase past that. And then if you do need to have more phases, more than these 3, then you're going to want to enable the use extended mode. This gives you up to 30 phases if you need to go that far. But in typical cases, the 3 should subdue. But if you are in that one case scenario, then by all means. But for now, we'll keep ours to 3. I'll have this at 2 minutes. I'll give us a bit of silence. And then for phase 3, I will put, say, mesh 3. Now, let's say I make another one. I'm going to call this fire leave. And for this, we're just going to play, say, mesh 3. And yeah, I have this end this because this is the fire we want people to leave. So now let's see emergency sequences. Moving over with emergency broadcasts, how this differs now is that emergency broadcasts will utilize a sequence that we already made. Like you see here, I made the possible fire and fire leave. So let's say I want to start with a possible fire. It will play my possible fire. But now also now at the same time, I could do more because this couldn't go to, if I had set a contact, I could have this, let's say, trigger a strobe system, for example. If I were just playing a sequence in itself, that sequence is just playing the audio itself. It's not doing anything added on top of that. My broadcast is more like, it's like automation in a way. You kind of automate it. So here I'm going to say we're going to play a pattern since we made some already, and I'm going to want this to be all call. If I were to make another one, for example, I will say, let's see, this one was possible fire, so I will make this fire leave. And yeah, I'll just play my fire leave one, and I will have it go to, if I wanted a specific zone, I could do that. Or for the sake here, I will keep that at a pattern and I have it at all call as well.
Just a note for that, for about the emergency sequence, we can program up to 32 emergency sequence. So again, it can be fire, can be different emergency scenarios, earthquake, fire, flooding. So we have up to 32, and each sequence can have standard 3 phase, like alert, or we investigate the issue. After that, we can phase 2 evacuate, or you can skip phase 2. You can go restoration. So in case the investigation find out there is nothing to worry about. So 3 phases. But if you need more, you can actually extend these phases up to 30. So duration, when duration you should select something 10 minutes, system automatically go from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 if you not manually interrupt it. So by operator, he will just press the button, emergency, like fire detected, and it will automatically play investigation for example, 5 minutes. If nobody will interrupt that, it will go to the phase 2 evacuation. If somebody said, okay, we have investigated, nothing to worry about, they can press button on the microphone and go to phase 3, the restoration. So we find out there's nothing there. So that's like automation of emergency broadcast.
All right, next let's hit the event settings. So this is now where we're going to tell, so move to RM, we're going to say what our buttons are going to do on our devices. So for example, on our RM200SF, here, let's say we'd want this to, because this is a fireman's mic, this will be for emergency. And I want this to start the emergency broadcast pattern. Here now is where I can tell it which pattern to start, either that be my pattern 1 that I made, or the pattern 2, right? And by doing that, it's going to actually, like I said, go through what we actually made here. But in instances where you might not know how long you want to keep it on a specific stage and you want to have more control of that, then instead what we can do is keep this blank and now turn this into, let's see, a emergency EV broadcast. So now this will just play what we have on our emergency sequences. So when I go back here, let's say I just want to play alert when switch 1 is pressed after. Or then afterwards, I just want to change it. Sorry, to alert and evacuate. So from here, you get to say, okay, stay on evacuate, or stay on alert for however long. But now one important part is, say once we get the system in emergency mode, we do want to take it out of there eventually. So without having to actually power down the full system, you're going to want to put a reset in here. So I'd say this reset is pretty important to put in and not forget. When you go down to emergency, you're going to find the emergency reset. So by doing that, now, situation avoided, everything's all good, and you're able to continue on with your day like that.
Or you can use the same button for start and stop, actually. When you go to the emergency,
Yeah, I can make that start stop.
yeah, start stop. So the same button will be pressed. It will enable emergency mode and press again, disable. So the remote mics, the 300X on the left on the rack has a red button for that. So you activate emergency mode.
Wrong one.
Yeah. You can have one state. You can start emergency. So there's an option to only start or start/stop. So same button. So you can assign different buttons just for stopping in case it's required. Yeah. No,
it's not resetting
it's
it,
stop
it's stopping
it's a
it,
stop
ending it.
emergency mode. So in emergency mode, the system will switch to emergencies. All lower priority will stop, and only emergency broadcast will happen.
All right, moving from there, if you have a CT, again, now you're say what you're using your CT for. If it's going to be used to for volume adjustments, you're going to tell it, let's say, oops.
This is a question about they ask for volume adjustment. So for easier adjustment, you can buy this 1U panel with the volume controls. So we can assign each volume knob for each zone. So in case you need it, you could go to the rack and adjust it.
Yeah, in this case here, I set this and it's on the PM60U, but in most cases, you could have it on your music too. You're telling it what it's controlling. And with the arms like that we were just on, you have control over not just the ARM 200, but also any ARM you have in the system. In our system, we have the 500, so I got the 500 here. I can say who I want to or what zone I wish to call. Under pre-select, either I call an individual or a pattern. In this case, I got patterns, could be an all call. I can make that zone 2 if need be as well. But yeah, all your ARM controls of who you're calling and what your buttons are going to do on your actual microphone itself is all done in your event settings.
Wait, this mic, it's a RM500. The name of the buttons, like key 1 and 2 and 3, it's customizable. So what you type there, you will see on the screen. So you can name zone paging like zone 1 or warehouse 1, or you can create the pattern. So you press the button, you automatically send a emergency broadcast to the zone and do all this automation that we describe in the pattern settings. So, sorry. I believe it's up to 32, and it will be if it's a more than fit on this box, virtual box. I think you will scroll. Yeah.
All the way.
32 harap.
Yeah,
32 characters. Yeah.
Call it E2 again. All right, so moving from there now, we have the the sound setting. From here, it's pretty self-explanatory. Is where now we're adjusting the EQs on either your input, and here right now showing my PM60U. That could either be my MW. If you have any others, you're telling it which input you're adjusting. And same goes for the output. And if you have an ANC mic, which we did put in our system, this tab becomes available for the ANC. And now this is where you could also set that up as well. Okay, so if I were to, for example, remove that, all of a sudden now, oops, I still have it in there. How many do I have?
It's input and
Hold
go
on.
input.
Yeah.
Frame.
I think I put in 4,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. My bad. Let's remove that ANC. Going now to sound settings. I lose the option to even adjust ANC. This program doesn't let you adjust something that you don't have in your system.
And this DSP functions, it's for VX3004 only. This more powerful device that can do mixing and do DSP functions that you can see here. V3008 is a more for more zones, more but just for PA and basic background music, and 2016 only for PA. So there is no DSP settings for 2008 and 2016. It's only for 2004. So if you want more flexibility, we usually suggest to buy 2004. More power, more flexibility, and DSP functions. I'll just repeat your question because online audience don't hear. It's fine. So the question was about ANC. If okay, it's a, like for a frame, it's a third-party device. If you're not connected, I mean, you're able to configure input as an ANC input. But if you not connect nothing there and upload the system, it still work. But there's been no signal, so no volume adjustment because you not have ANC microphone connected to it.
If you're trying to calibrate that,
So again, once you connect the microphone, you can start calibrate system, but it will not flag you that there is some problem because it's it show you only the mismatched settings related to internal VX of modules, but third-party like ANC microphone we consider as a device connected to the analog line input, so you can connect anything to that. So it's not one. Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta upload.
So
It's not live sync, just
so once you add the device, you need to upload the configuration. Otherwise, the device will not work. Of course, but if you don't have a mic but upload configuration with a microphone, it will show you that it's not there. It will not. Yeah. Um, it's a good question. I need to check that. That uh,
Usually mill work is the problem. The desk isn't physically there, so you can't plug the microphone in where it physically is. So you might leave that out. You're doing some other work, or the desk's not there, whatever it may be. So now, once they you may have the physical box available, but they can't plug it in.
well,
You have to go back and re-upload or put the unit in and go, okay, well, now your system
Well,
It
so the
depends on the
question is,
microphone.
so again, I just repeat the question. So usually on site when configurations should have additional microphones, but you don't have exactly, we're still not connected. It depends because, you know, we have surveillance settings. If you enable surveillance and you upload and microphone is not there, you have a flag that
No.
some issue with the system is not responding. So you need to disable that. So I believe to don't have any errors, you configure system as current state. Once you have all blocks connected to it, you upload again. Yes, yeah, you can reset, but still will remember that it's failures. Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Unit and hit that, so that's the unit. Now I gotta go all the way back to site.
Well, it's not reset. It's kind of you acknowledge there's a failure, you know, that there's no device that should be there. You just don't have this buzzing noise. You just acknowledge this failure. A failure will reset once you add the device, of course. Monitor.
Okay, going
Okay.
from there, we have yeah, moving on, we have the surveillance mail settings. For here, there's much to this is if you now, when there's a fault, you want, maybe you want to get notified, you want to send out emails to that, this is where you're setting that up. So we'd have to put in used and put in all your email credentials. And then you have a whole mailing list and everything depending on, yeah, depending on who you'd want to get contact in that, in the case of, say, a failure. So there isn't too much when it comes to the surveillance mail settings because it's just setting notifications.
Sorry, Isaiah, I have a question from the chat. Can you calibrate ANC via maintenance? It's the question. The answer is no. In maintenance, you just monitor stuff, but for calibration, there is a same. You go sound settings tab, and go ANC tab, and you do calibration from there.
Show you.
Yeah, just Isaiah will add again ANC microphone to the system. He will demonstrate. So you, as you can see here, NAC tab, and you do calibration from here.
Yes, this is manual, but if you're trying to just have it first read the room and come back to you, you hit initialize and hit OK. I'm not going to click yes because I don't have one physically connected to me right now. So I don't want to get into that little loop. It'll take a few minutes.
Yeah, I hope this has answered your question. Media, thank you.
Yeah, because if I'm trying to calibrate right now with that ANC mic, if it's not connected, then I got nothing to calibrate that with. If you already know what it's gonna be, like I said, you can put that here manually and then set that as is. So then hopefully by the time you plug it in, that your settings that you got it right.
Again, for ANC microphone, no issue. You can upload it. This start configuration is good for starting, so you can upload it and no issue. Once you plug in microphone, it will start do this thing.
There, the last part now is the timer settings. This is where you are going to make your daily programs, your weekly programs, and any holiday programs, right? So, for instance, let's say if I want to just activate a general bass pattern, I could have that, and I could play that at 12 o'clock. And one thing to note is, for example, the fact that I put 12 o'clock, my end time, it moved to 12:01. The software takes it quite literally, so it will end it in a second. So to not have that happen, you need to tell it exactly how long you want this to play. So if I want this to play for 50 minutes, then I'm going to put in from 12 to 12:50. So then now if I look at my display time chart, you're going to see that I have just a small dot. That's a window I'm going to play my pattern. If I were to keep it as it originally made it, that just 1 second, it plays for virtually a second, and you can barely see it here. So it's very important to specify exactly how long you do want a message to play. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a tip I did just find out that if you want to play something more than 24 hours, you cannot like put like 00 and 00 to not play. So you create a second daily program. So first daily program, it finished like 11:59, and second daily program started with the 0 like midnight. So it will continue if you need that. If you need more 24 hours broadcast.
So on daily pattern 2 here, let's just, for example, we will put in a volume adjust. Why not? Make a pulse. I will make this, yeah, all calls fine. And go up to 8 dB and restart this at 12. So why I'm making 2 programs here is so that you can see now, say when I go to weekly on Sunday, I could tell it I only want to play what I made on my first program, and same with Monday. But then Tuesday, I'm telling it I want to play what I had on my second program, and so on. So the more daily programs you make here, then you could tell it on a weekly basis which program you want to use. And for holiday, you're just gonna now tell it on like on a holiday which program we're gonna play as well. So there isn't really anything to this as much. On volume. One thing that we did go over already, but is this the setting mismatch that you see grayed out here. Like with anything, if anything is wrong, so if I make a mistake here, any errors we get in our software as we are going through, this handy tool tells us what that error is, and it's real easy to jump to that tab. And it shows me that it's 04 and 08 where an error is, and that's where I made an issue. So I'm going to put this back to 2, making that correct. But then yeah, that would go over everything for the normal mode.
Yeah, I have a question again from chat. Is a daily pattern change and sync with the master/GPS enabled clock, or only takes clock from VX3000? So daily pattern changes not related to the synchronization with the master clock, like from internet.
Like an NTP.
Yes, not SIP server.
NTP server.
NTP server. So when you change this daily schedules, daily patterns, it's not affecting the clock. So it always get the it can confirm, of course, from the internally, like local clocks not synchronized with anything else, but you also can configure with the NTP server.
Yeah, I shouldn't put that in.
It's in the maintenance. In the maintenance.
Oh, wrong one.
Go maintenance. Yeah.
Here we go.
So the basic settings, you can go also summertime settings also adjusted.
We have our logs. Yeah, for doing mail, the statuses, but we're not connected live right now, so you're not gonna see anything in status.
Again, it's a maintenance in this advanced mode and the normal mode, but you can access it with the end user privilege rights. So you can do these basic settings from there as well. check the logs, check the errors.
Yeah.
For the time sync. So I had something similar like situation. So in a scenario where you can't use an NTP server, which is going to the internet, I know there's something known as a GPS NTP server. So you're relying on the GPS where it kind of like you have the component that's going to the work somewhere like outside in the field somewhere. It goes by the NTP, it's like a satellite, and you can be able to get NTP server through that way, which is not internet. So what I'm wondering in the sense that if you're using the PC in this scenario, so let me say if you have like a VMware or like a little small PC that's always connected to the system, and you set that to PC time, and say the PC for whatever reason died or reboots for whatever reason, it goes back. Does it automatically still sync back to the PC, or you have to, or does someone has to go back there and click on PC, use PC's time sync?
No, you need to manually to do that.
To readjust.
Yes.
Okay.
You do this from the software running on your PC. If your software is not connected to the system,
Yeah.
and you don't do this manually pressing by button, it's not do that.
Okay.
And then it's once received when you press receive the clock from PC. It's
Yeah, so it's not like continuously communicating with that PC. So that time when you did that upload, the time that on that PC, that's what went to the system.
And then in terms of like, you guys use the GPS TP server? Just curious. And if there is,
No,
is
no,
any brand you recommend though?
yeah, in the Canada we not have requested that, but there's online open NTP servers that you can be used that for this purpose.
Let's say you.
Yeah.
So to be
Well,
your local time.
for that thing, we don't have provision for GPS synchronization. Unfortunately. Mhm. Mhm. I see.
Probably something to look at it.
Possibly, we could check that with HQ about other methods of synchronization.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this goes over all these software parts that we were going to go over. So we're open to any more questions if anyone has from online, from you guys.
You've done this and you send the program to the user, it'll go offline, upload the program, and then come back online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there will be a short downtime while it
Yes.
reboots itself.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but something like ANC settings or this advanced sound settings, there's actually button to apply right away. So you do the changes to EQ or to compressor, and you want to hear right away.
Yeah.
You press the button, it will send immediately to the. So you don't need to wait for restarting system. So yeah, apply settings here, and
Yeah.
for ANC, and also I believe for input outputs. Can you go to input output? Yes, same thing.
Yeah.
That thing, and yeah, for these things you can do this right away, but for major changes like
But as long as it's not a system change,
yeah,
right?
yes,
You can do a live.
yes, adding new device, changing IP, replacing amplifier.
Yeah.
That thing is required proper send configuration. Can you show the communication? And so you go communication, you actually can send from PC to VX, and in some cases you want to receive existing configuration to your software. Like we have instances that other maintenance team come and they don't have backup file, so they can connect to the system and retrieve the configuration, so they can do the changes and send back to the system.
Well, if you're gonna do maintenance, it's always good to download the file.
Of course, you with the process in the process
You
of
never
the
know what has been changed. And
Yeah.
even if you got, well, this is
Yes.
famous for restaurant,
yes.
right? You go in there and you do something, you never know when somebody's gone in and done small change. And then you restore it to the one that you have, and then all of a sudden they complain stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
it's a good rule of thumb. You first uh, retrieve the existing configuration. You in your laptop, you think you have latest one.
No, you don't.
Somebody done the changes and you don't know, and you send it. Oh, doesn't work. So again, we recommend like retrieve first configuration, save as a backup, and do the changes for why you came and do the updates. Yeah. And
When you upload it, it should take about like a minute or two. Well, that too, but it doesn't take too long, even if you're full, right? But if you do not give it enough time and you try to connect to the unit and you only give it like 10 seconds or less than a minute, you're gonna run into an error. It's gonna say you couldn't connect or something because you didn't give it that time. So give it a solid minute, maybe 2 minutes, and it should be good to go.
oh, can you please talk to the mic? So yeah.
In terms of error logs, if you connect this to the system, are you able to download the error logs through all the individual processors, or do you have to connect to one by one, and download the error log?
So it's a log for entire system. So you can download from
So a log file here.
it's a yeah. So you basically in this window you have a like entries, different logs and the type and the date, and you can of course you can read the log manually and save as a CSV format as an Excel table.
Is there a limit on how much error log it can store?
I'm not aware about that actually, but it's a many thousands. It's a many thousands if it's hundreds of thousands. So it's the log itself is not takes much space in the memory, so you can have a lot of them. So it's record everything like when it's done broadcast, how long, where, from which device, so everything.
And upon reboot, it doesn't clear the logs, right? It still stays. The error
Like a power cycle?
Yeah.
No,
I
no,
won't
it's
say.
stay in the memory.
Okay, perfect. So it's perfect.
Yes, until you clear it.
Awesome.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a hard to also turn off this thing.
It's not that easy.
If you cut the power, if you have a backup emergency and backup unit, if you switch off the main breaker, it still work. So you need to, yeah, as long as the battery, of course. And even that, you need to, how you switch off it, you need to physically go behind and disconnect the cable. Oh yeah, I know there's a way, but I mean, accidentally switch off the system, no.
And a question there? Or all set?
Oh yes, oh wait, there's another question. Will your server joins the Active Directory domain? Should it not auto sync with the domain controller after a boot or failure? Well, domain the directory domain is related for Windows and servers. The system works independently to any server, and it's a decentralized system. So you can run there's configuration software for anywhere that has
Windows.
has a connection to your system in the same local area network. But regarding directed domain, it's not a relevant question to VX. VX works independent to any server, plus it's decentralized system. So any of the frames fail, other frames continue work. So every frame has a piece of configuration and knows where to send the broadcast. So there's no like system manager, like maybe SX2000 has a system manager that can fail and whole system fail. This is not the case. So that Active Directory domain question is not relevant to the VX.
So every frame does not store the entire program. It only stores the bit that it needs.
Well, how to say, it's a piece of the system, right? If it's disappear, the other frames knows about this, but it seems it's offline. They cannot broadcast to that system. It will show you error, right?
Right.
Yeah, but how to say that each frame knows to where to send the broadcast and from where to receive it. So
Yeah, because we were talking about this earlier about, making it redundant. So maintenance, frame goes down.
Mhm.
Now I've got to send somebody with a laptop and everything else to go out there and re-push the configuration to that dead frame.
Yeah.
If each frame had a full copy of the program, right? And I could say, okay, take program from the first frames, and then when I put the new unit in, on boot up, it would go check to see if the stuff is there. If not, it would then upload it to that frame. So basically I could have, Joe Schmo or whatever, put that in that rack, done.
I see. The frame itself don't have capacity to push the configuration. The software on your PC has. So once you bring the new frame, of course they need to do the deep switches stuff, ID and IP address, and then push configuration from the software to the system, because the frame itself is empty. When you connect to the network, other frames don't know there is a new frame in the network, and this new frame is empty, so it doesn't have anything inside.
This is what we were getting at.
Yeah.
If you're going to do this thing, heaven forbid anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's gonna, but you know that guy Murphy, he's out there somewhere and it's gonna go wrong. You could be in the middle of nowhere. And I've been in places, even in Toronto. You're not gonna get a network connection. End of story. Right? Like if I go to Woodbine Casino or Fallsview, I ain't connected to any network there. It has to be a standalone network, or I've got to get.
No, what do you mean? It still has. It's going to the network switches somewhere in the IT room, right?
So I can't just go and connect to that network if it's there, even if it might be secure. I have to fill out all kinds of paperwork, and I have to like the amount of paperwork you got to do just to connect to a network, or even go near a network switch. Never mind about anything else. It's like pulling teeth. Right?
Okay. There are another options you can do. You can bring with you small network switch, 4 ports, for example, and that cable go from the IT room. This should go to the frame. You connect your network switch, and from network switch to the new frame.
Can't do it.
And to your PC.
Can't do it. As soon as I disconnect that network cable, the knock goes off, and you'll have security guards after your butt.
Well, in this case, you need the access and the permissions to do this work. I mean, I know there is some security policies by MAC address filtering. You cannot connect anything to the network, that only that frame, but you need to be part of that network in order to update it. You need, like, your laptop need to be, or you can use, if it's Casino, you need to use that PC that already connected to the network. You said if there's no access, okay, I have a file. Let's just install the piece of software. It's a lightweight software. Connect on your PC, and I will upload and it will work.
None of that happens.
None of that.
No, like there's certain places you can go and you can get away with murder. Other places you go you go up to a switch and you touch anything on that switch. Chances are it's even locked behind a cabinet door. You ain't getting anywhere.
Well, in this case, yeah, you need somehow to be your laptop or any PC in the same network to
This is
update.
what we were talking about is if there's some way to modify the system like version 2.0,
Yeah.
that there was a memory card or some way that it would auto configure that, or you'd have
Yeah.
to swap a network, like a little SD card. So when you rebooted the system, it would go, okay, I'm gonna upload it to the file, and then
Yeah.
create itself.
They using internal memory, the VX, so there's no SD card. What another option I think of, if it's not like a redundant network, using LAN A and B, if it's LAN B is not used yet, so the VX has a built-in switch, network switch, small, the 2 ports. So you can connect to LAN B and you can do configuration from there. But again, if it's using only LAN A only, and LAN B is not used then. So, but if it's like a mission critical facility that need to redundant power, redundant amplifiers, redundant network connection, yeah, you need to go to the network switch somewhere.
That was just something we were talking about, is it being, if it's mission critical, you're the only maintenance guy around. You could just give a frame to some guy and go, put that in there and just swap over connection for connection, done. Right, so auto configure it, set it all up, and away you go.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that may be something to look at down the road, because you've got all the other stuff that it can run by itself, you got backup, you got everything else. But if something, heaven forbid, goes down, right?
Right.
Because it's gonna happen. It's never not gonna happen.
Fair point.
It'd be nice if it did, but
I mean, yeah, it's a fair point. I understand that if it's that facility that has a strict rules. Okay, I think I have another
Another-
questions.
First.
So we have replied that that VX is not window based. Please explain again how we can maintain time sync. This is critical in some use cases to have synchronized timestamp between multiple systems logs for this purpose. And so let's check this. So you in a maintenance window, you can do synchronization. Let me check if there's other methods to synchronize time. And I'll come back to you this question. And second question from Amitya, VX1000 has a built-in LAN port. So in case we route audio or data traffic from another VX or CX1000 via a switch, is it capable to take the audio data and broadcast it?
He can't take it from the SX.
If you're talking about a
So-
VX3000 as SX2000, they are not compatible in a packet audio level. Like they cannot transmit audio via network from SX2000 to VX3000.
Hold on. The only other TOA device that can actually send audio to the VX3000 would be the NX300.
Yeah.
Come again? So if you're trying to bring in IO network from another TOA device, the NX300, it can communicate with at least the VX3000 can understand audio from the NX300.
So we basically has a different line of audio adapters network. It has a transmitter and a receiver side. So in case you need to transmit audio over network for long distance, we have transmitter receiver. So VX3000 can communicate with that adapters. So it's not a part of VX3000. It's another line of the products, but there's option to communicate with the adapters if you need it, of course. But unfortunately, SX2000 has a little bit older IP audio packet technology used at the time, and it's not compatible with VX3000, unfortunately. Okay, let me search for time sync. Can you
Yeah.
stop sharing this so we can see the chats was saying?
Yeah.
Just because I'm looking for another.
Yeah, sure. No, the the N8000 does not integrate with the VX2000.
Can you just repeat the question so that we'll know here?
Okay, yeah. So one question was more of a statement. If the N8000 can integrate with the VX, the answer to that is no in this case. Like I said, our only other product line that could actually that the VX can understand would be the what's it called? I'm blanking on the name all of a sudden. Is the NX300.
Network settings. Time.
So
Okay. Now, so can you share again the screen? I want to show people where is the server setting for NTP is located.
okay. Next we'll do the NX300.
Yeah. So in the network settings, you go to that network settings on the right below. You see the DNS server and NTP server. So that's where you put a local IP address or a domain name for NTP server.
Yeah. And for adding in
To
a
be honest, if this GPS, what you said, it's kind of GPS/server, and it's provided it standard NTP protocol. I don't know. I don't think there's a problem to synchronize with that. But yes, yeah. But I need. Yeah. Yes. Not like GPS. Just this GPS device work as a NTP server in a network. So basically, you connect anything that support NTP, even a Windows machine that synchronized with the time. If it's provide the same protocol credentials, like it can so VX can support that because other devices do support like Windows machine use the NTP server for time synchronization. But I need to look at it if the device this exists. But to be honest, I'm not have experience with that GPS server thing. But I need to look at it and we'll see if it's cool. Okay, yeah, that's good to have to know. Yeah.
Okay, in regards to the NX300, because there was another question on that. Yeah, in the network settings here is where you're actually saying how many NX300 you have. This being the limit, I believe that's 9. Sorry, 8. And then in the event settings under audio network is now where you have the option to link it to a zone. So this is where you are doing like the handshake when it comes to the VX and the NX300.
No, okay.
Cool.
Maybe
And
demonstrate the extension,
Hmm?
how it works. Extension.
Which one are you referring to?
This one. Double click.
Oh, that was explaining the PowerPoint. Anyone
Extension.
lost it?
Yeah, just maybe show.
The extensions.
So I just want to show one of the features I think we missed maybe. We can extend zone count for frame. What I mean is, if you, for example, use 2008, you have 8 zones, but you need more, but not necessarily more power, you can add extension frame to the existing frame. There will be no power amplifier. You share the power amplifier with the first frame, and you just extend your zone numbers double. for example.
That would also be physically wired too. So
So
you're not
of
just
course they
putting in
need to physically
software,
wire.
but there be extension wires from the back.
Yes, but in this case you will save cost on the power amplification because you need 16 zones, but each zone has maybe one speaker. Maybe it's a, I don't know, class school with a one speaker, and you have a 32 classrooms, and it's no more than 500 watts. So you buy two frames, but only you populate amplifier modules only one frame. Other frame work as an extension zone. So there's been no amplifier. So this is a cost-effective way to increase zone, but again, it will not provide the more power. You need to be in the same power budget for amplifier. Of course, if you need more zones and more power, you just do add additional frame as we demonstrate before, and you go from there.
I'll make this one.
So you see that 2008 ID number 1 has a 2 amplifiers and extension frame below. It's don't have any amplifiers. It's just an extension of the first amplifier, the first frame. So, but in this case, 2008 frames has a 16 zones.
Something to note about that too, actually, since we're on extensions, is that now when you go to, when you're telling it,
Yeah.
which amplifier is going to power what zone, it takes into those extensions in mind. Oh, that's working. And lets you adjust as need be. So now it extends because I got two VX08s here.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions? Anything more? So you know that we have tech support, and we can call us or email us, and we can discuss your question, and of course design your system from scratch. We provide this service for free, and we can help you with any setup. And so please use the service. And yeah, thank you for your attention. Hopefully it was interesting for you, and thank you. Yeah.
Dr. South.